I took myself to Paris, and while there, I walked thousands of steps every day. And this is a couple of the extracts from those walks. I hope you enjoy listening to the madness. I'm walking around the streets of the Rive Gauche, Paris's South Bank. And I've never done this. I've walked around Paris a lot over the many years that I've been backwards and forwards to Paris, but I've never just wandered around this quarter. And I've just been to the hotel where Oscar Wilde died in 1900, which is somewhere I've always wanted to visit because I'm a bit of a fan. Not a bit of a fan, I'm a massive fan of Oscar Wilde. And there's something about this part of the city so different to the north side. So the reason I've done this little wander around actually is because I don't queue. Anyone who knows me will know that I don't like standing in a queue because it makes me feel like I'm wanting to do something that other people. I don't know what it is. Actually, I don't know what it is, but I just don't like queuing. I don't need to explain it to myself. I just don't like it. Anyway, so I wanted to go to the Musée d'Orsay, and which is another place I've never been. And so I went to. So I've just seen some beautiful, beautiful pottery. So anyway, so I went to the Musée d'Orsay, and there was a massive, massive queue. So I thought rather than have a queue, I would go and find a little cafe. So I sat in a cafe, drank my peppermint tea, had a little chat with the waiter, and then went to the Oscar Wilde Hotel. And while I was sitting in the cafe outside on the banks of the Seine. What? How is that happening? It's just beautiful. Anyway, while I was sitting there, I booked my ticket online, so I don't have to queue. I can literally wander up there. I've got 10 minutes until my ticket time is due, and it's going to be about a 5-minute walk, so I'll be a little bit early, which is always good. And then I can just go into the Musée d'Orsay. But I was moved to record this as I'm walking around this part of Paris that I've never experienced before, and the joy that it's bringing to my soul. So that was me walking the streets on the Rive Gauche before I went into the Musée d'Orsay, and I realised why I'd never been there, and it only opened in the late 80s. Well, of course, I went to Paris first in the 1970s, and before it had ever opened, I guess. So there we are. Anyway, it was wonderful, and I did the right thing to book my ticket online. I apologise for the background noise in that, but actually it's quite nice. So the next one was the following day when I was on top of the Arc de Triomphe. Here I am on the top of the Arc de Triomphe, looking at the Eiffel Tower, and suddenly missing my dad because on the way up there's a little shop. And I looked in the shop and thought, oh, what can I buy my mum as a little gift? And then I saw the ties and I thought, oh, I'd have bought my dad a tie. It's very sad. It just reminded me. I needed this holiday to process his death 2 months ago, and I think I'm doing that. And it's so beautiful to be here. The weather is extraordinary, and made particularly extraordinary by the fact that I know in England it's pouring with rain. So it's just lovely being here. And a friend, hello Paul if you were listening, a friend asked me if I'd found any good jazz clubs in Paris. I said no, I haven't actually, and didn't go into detail, but I haven't wanted to have late nights, and something about hunkering down in the evening just having something to eat and then go and have an early night. It's been exactly what I needed. What I didn't need was to have some really, really late nights at some great jazz clubs, I'm sure, and then come back exhausted to the UK. So I feel like I'm returning tonight relaxed and refreshed. I don't know if you can hear, there's a French man on the phone talking very loudly in the opposite corner of the Arc de Triomphe. But this is such a better view and so much easier than climbing up the Eiffel Tower. And you can have plenty of time up here. So my advice to anybody is, yeah, go and see the Eiffel Tower, but that's fine. But definitely go up the Arc de Triomphe. There's something very spiritual about it as well, because it's in memory of people who passed. So there we are. That's my thoughts on the top of the Arc de Triomphe. I hadn't realised quite how much of the French guy's conversation you could hear. Anyway, that's part of my trip to Paris last week, and boy did I need it. But it was just such a lovely few days. So that was a little bonus episode of Harmonious World where I'm sharing a bit of my life. Hope this finds you well, and if you found this, well done, because I'm not putting it up on social media. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.